Hey everyone, and welcome to From Waterloo to the Alamo. I'm your host, Traci Wilson, and today we have Lynne Williams with HomeAid Austin. She is the executive director.
Correct.
And we're going to talk a little bit today about what exactly HomeAid is, about, the uniqueness of it, and just kind of spread the word about what you guys do because it is a really, really important mission. And it's actually, I think, a very big need in the community because of what you guys do. Just kind of being the connector of all the different local agencies that do help homelessness and creating places for people who are experiencing homelessness to have a place to go to. So I'm really excited to kind of dive in and let people really, really figure out what the mission is of HomeAid Austin and just learn a little bit more about it.
Yeah, it's exciting. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh,
it's a pleasure to be here and to help continue to get the word out. So yeah, I'm really excited.
Well, why don't you first tell us what initially inspired you to get involved with HomeAid Austin?
Well, it wasn't really me. With HomeAid, we have a board of directors that is amazing, over 20 people. One of the board of directors, who was kind of the one who brought HomeAid to Austin, was at the time the executive director of the Home Builders Association. And she's like, I need to bring HomeAid here. We are a national organization.
Okay.
We have 20 affiliates across the United States. And she had experience in another one. At the time, she was like, we just really need this mission here. We need to get this company here. So she brought in HomeAid, and she was actually left that company and was the executive director at the Austin Apartment Association. And I was working for her at the time doing accounting. I was a accounting and finance person before this, CFO of a company. And so I had a totally different background, but everyone just looks at me and goes, you are not an accounting person. So what is your passion? And Emily was like, what is your passion? So she, I told her, what I wanted to do in life. My daughter actually suffered a massive stroke at age 31. And so that brought me to Austin.
So
and
sorry.
Oh, that's okay. There's a lot of silver linings to that experience. But one of them is me getting here because my passion was at the time, want to start a foundation and kind of bring the full circle moment to those people who suffered that, tragedy. So like from being totally dependent to being totally independent, which includes like housing. I've always been in the construction industry. So, I just wanted to just help people in that position. And she's looked at me, she goes, I have a job for you. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, are you firing me? And she said, no, but I need you to take over at HomeAid Austin. She goes, you are an amazing person at what you do, but you really need to fulfill your passion in life. So she saw that in me, which is kind of amazing because I was, not even considering anything like this. I've always been that person to do that. But so she really brought me in as the executive director, and that was in 2022. And she's still on the board to this day. So we still have that great connection. And, we just built a great team. I had a friend of mine who was not happy with her job at the time. She was in multifamily work and property management. And that was Kim McCorkle. She's our outreach and development manager. And she's always had that heart too. And I said, well, come work for me and do this with me. So I hired her immediately. And Katie, who is our communications director, was already kind of working part-time for us, doing some help in the summer. And I said, do you want a full-time job? And she said, yes. So it's been the three of us since 2022. So that's kind of how we all... And Katie was an English teacher. So, we kind of all came into this like really, I guess, kind of organically because it was always something
passionate about
exactly,
it. Which probably doesn't feel like work. When
it doesn't.
Feel passionate about
no,
something.
not all the time, but yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it's still a little work.
Well, I think really, let's kind of just reverse just a little bit. Why don't you tell people what exactly HomeAid is and what makes you guys different than other, nonprofit organizations?
Yeah. So HomeAid is attacking homelessness in a different way. So, there's a lot of people out there serving the at-risk and the unhoused population right now. We call those people service providers. So they're the ones who are helping the kids in the foster care system. They're the ones who are helping people with addictions. They're the one helping people with sex trafficking and domestic violence. And when you are in that situation, kids that are being yanked out of homes by CPS, when you're in that situation, you're at risk, or then all of a sudden you find yourself being unhoused. So those people, there's so many in the area. But what we do and what makes us different than everybody else is we bring the building industry 750 people strong, members strong at the Home Builders Association, together with those service providers. So we are like the conduit that brings those people together, whether it's them needing a building project done, or we can bring in 40 volunteers to help get a landscaping project done, or we can have essential drives at their offices and say, hey, Magdalene House, the women need stuff. So can you do a drive in your office? So basically, we can bring in the people that will help them fill in the gaps that they're needing in their service when they're performing these services for the people who are at risk of being homeless or experiencing homelessness. So we pretty much bring together the community, because together, when you're alone and you're working on this project, if you're a service provider, let's say Tony with Magdalene House, who is the executive director over there, and she services a program for women who escape their sex traffickers.
Oh, wow.
So she is a nonprofit. She's trying to raise money. She's trying to mow her lawn by herself and, maintain these programs. And so when HomeAid can come in and step in and bring all these people behind us to help support her, that's what makes us different than kind of everybody else, I think, in the area. We just help fill in the gaps and help provide dignity. That's kind of our main model. We want these people to be able to heal in a dignified place, not, some place that hasn't been painted in 40 years, because, thank goodness they're helping the people, but they're not always worried about what their ceiling looks like or their roof looks like, or, they're really focused on their mission. And so we come in and provide that gap.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so you basically get your list of builders, right?
Yeah.
And I know you guys are having, aren't you having an event soon?
Yes. So we do a lot of work out with Alan Graham at Community First Village. So far, since HomeAid Austin has started here in 2018, we've helped them build over 35 microhomes out there.
Yeah.
And it's a total 100% contribution. That's the other thing that makes us a little different than everybody else, is because when we do what we do, bring in these builders, we ask them to do it as some sort of an in-kind donation with materials or labor. Our goal is to get the project done at 100% in-kind donations, so the service providers can keep that money in their program, or we ask them to do it some sort of a discount depending on the project, and what the budget is and how much they're allowed. So when we did the 35 homes out at Community First Village, it was at 100% donation. So we've had everybody, it's about 1.5 million in materials and labors that these builders and their subcontractors have brought to the project. So they can keep that money in their program. But we're starting our 2025 builds out there.
Oh, wow.
So we have 6 homes that we've been tasked to build for, their new phase. They're starting their new phase out there. So it's going to be a brand new 700 home plot of land 700 homes that they're going to be adding out there. So we're going to be building 60 in the next 10 years. So we're challenged with 6 a year. So on January 10th, we're going to be having a builder recruitment event.
Awesome.
We invite builders to go to our website and check it out. They can sign up there if they want to put their time and effort and do some philanthropic work. It's a tiny home. It's a micro home. There's no plumbing. There's no what else? There's not a lot of sheetrock. They tend to build these villages out there with a community in mind. That's why they call it Community First, because they believe that community helps heal people who have been chronically homeless for a long time. So on January 10th, I think it starts at 9 in the morning, and they can sign up on our website, and we're just going to have a tour. We're going to talk about their mission, how we can help, and just kind of let everybody know what's going on out there at Community First, because it's an amazing organization.
It is amazing. And that's so cool that you guys have kind of helped that process.
It's been an honor to be involved out there. We also were able to help them. We donated a greenhouse. So the people who live on the property, the neighbors, can work in the greenhouse, especially if they have a mobility issue. It allows them to stay on property and continue to earn a dignified income. So we had a couple of Taylor Morrison and Texas Capital and HomeAid. We delivered a big, huge 35-foot greenhouse out there, so they can grow vegetables in their garden and start seeds, so they can continue that work.
Feeling that self-sufficiency too.
Yeah, exactly. Just it's all about dignity. How can we get people who have fallen off their pedestals that they work through in life? How can we provide them a dignified way to heal? And that's kind of what we try to do. Like I said, whether it's a coat of paint or a new kitchen or a new stove or, a new bed or anything. We just try to
Right.
bring that and fill in those gaps for the service providers. So,
That's awesome.
yeah. So,
Well, how do you feel like your experience from your past work experience, right,
hmm
has been able to help or shape you through the leadership, because you're in leadership at HomeAid Austin and,
yeah,
you're involved in so many things at a top level.
right.
How do you feel like your past has helped shaped how you
Oh,
help,
gosh.
lead this company?
So many different ways. Like I know with the financial background, it's good for me to just step in and take
Mhm.
that over. It's
No,
like
no, no, no.
yeah,
No, no,
no,
no, we're not doing that.
we have budgets. We need to do these things. But so yeah, so basically with that part and just being able to fill in that area easily, I've always
Mhm.
been the type of person to come up with, hey, let's do this, and we have a great idea, and what about this? So it's really helped me, and my little analytical brain that I have, just
Right.
because when you're a math brain, it's different than a right brain kind of a person. And, it's just, I've always had the combination of both. So I think those two things really help me.
Right.
And just, caring for people, it's not challenging when, the people, that you work with, you trust, you let them do their work. And, we just always work well together. So I just think, like I said, just being in my accounting background and, with my daughter's situation too, being a
Yeah.
caregiver for her, I also I'm a caregiver for my mom as well. So that's just always been in my blood. And so to have this come out, like this is the perfect storm. I've been in construction my whole life. I know the process. I know how to start the houses. I've worked in that business forever, and now I get to work with people who I've always been in this industry with. So the whole thing
Mhm.
was kind of like the perfect storm of bringing it together. So I could really just kind of take this, and it's not just me. I always say I'm the executive director, but when we talk, it's just we're such a team. Like everybody just has their own roles,
Yeah.
and that's
And
kind of
they
how
make
we
it
work
it's a
it.
well-oiled
Oh
machine
yeah,
for
we
sure.
we have kind of visited everything that was done before we took over, and we've just improved on that. We were left with an awesome base, before I got here, and we had a great board of directors. We had a great, kind of lot of builder captains who are on board who want to help us with our mission, and so we just kind of took that and ran with it. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
Well, do you feel like, since HomeAid Austin, I know that y'all have 20 affiliates all across the US,
yeah,
but HomeAid Austin is relatively, I would say, new, right? We just, it's
yeah,
2018, you said it's
yep,
been here, and then y'all took over in 2022.
correct.
Or your team kind of
Yeah, well, it was
assembled.
COVID, so
Yeah. What do you
18
do?
and then
Yeah.
19, 20, we had we just kind of had a rebirth of what we had
Right.
started on,
So do you feel
before.
like what have been the biggest challenges HomeAid Austin is? Because to be honest, I hadn't really heard of it. And
Right,
now that I know that you guys help build those homes at Community First, because Community First, everybody knows
right,
about because it
right.
is so unique. But the
Yes.
fact that you guys have helped kind of pioneer
Yeah.
a big part of that, I I can't imagine what it's like for you guys because y'all have a great organization. But what do you think some of the biggest challenges have been for you guys?
I think the biggest challenges that we've run into since we've taken over is the construction industry. We are so reliant on what happens with them. So they're
Yeah.
having a great year, then we have a great year. More people tend to give money. They have
But
more money to give.
price of wood goes up. Woo, they're
Yeah,
gonna be
when
a
lumber
little
goes up, it's like, yeah, we can't really donate that much right now. So, everything that we do kind of depends on that market.
yeah.
Thank goodness we partner with our president right now is with Zonda, and he helps us
Hmm.
tremendously with like helping with the market and
Right.
seeing like where that's going. But the market just is dependent on how we do. So like whether we have a lot of people attend our luncheon, whether we have a lot of people attend our golf tournament, those are the fundraisers that we do for our operations. And kind of the way HomeAid works is that when we bring a builder to get captain together with a service provider, they pretty much contract with each other. So, we don't really take a fee in that. So we have to do our own fundraising to keep our operations going. So if the time of the year is down, if it's a bad year for builders, then, we have to scale down what we're doing a little bit
Hmm.
to, you know, revolve more around not project focus, but like maybe care days, which is another thing that we do, what we call a care day and a project. Are two different things, and we can go into that later if you want. But so we just have to, the market. And so basically just fundraising is our biggest challenge. Like
Yeah.
we are finding, that, like I said, when we first got here, it was a pretty good year. Last 2 years haven't been. We've remained steady. We do have our annual luncheon that we do in the fall, and we have at least over 500 people come every year. So
Mm-hmm.
no complaints there because, I mean, in a down year to have that many people show up
Yeah.
to support you and to support your mission, I mean, is incredible. So, but I think just basically
Spreading the word.
fundraising and getting the word
Mm-hmm.
out. It's all about relationships.
Right.
So, the more relationships we can build, the more people that we have behind us and the more work we can do. So
Yeah.
like it takes a community to what people can't do alone. So, like I said, when we kind of march into someone, it's like we have this whole big people behind us,
It
group of
always
people.
takes a village.
It does.
In
always.
every aspect of life.
Every aspect of life. I know it's kind of everybody says that's such a weird phrase, but it is so true. And
Yeah.
it does. Whether you're, and what Alan Graham at Community First Village says all the time is that, it's a catastrophic loss of family that causes you to fall into homelessness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that support system that you don't have around you anymore that people, really need, and you don't realize it. So,
Yeah.
and when that goes, it really creates havoc in your life. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you feel like Austin, because Austin grew so quickly,
Yeah.
especially during COVID, and then things kind of halted. Do you feel like that has had a huge impact on y'all's business?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of people actually experiencing homelessness go up in the last, since 2022. But I mean, we've seen it before that. If you paid attention to anything and you were here, that the cost of housing, the way the taxes, not the taxes have increased, but the property values have increased. So taxes increase, of course. So, there's a lot more families experiencing homelessness now, which is really kind of sad. But we've seen a lot more people living in their cars and just being, out on the streets that are families. There's in AISD right now, I think there's over 2,500 families that are kids that attend school that are homeless, experiencing homelessness. So, some of the projects we work with, especially Sunrise Navigation down on Menchaca, is a hub for these people to get services. So I think it's a more population now that are experiencing homelessness, and like I said, more families.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Austin has grown rapidly, right? So clearly with more population and more people, you're going to have more of everything, right? That's what I always tell people: more crime, more this, more that. But, homelessness, that's one thing people are just like, oh my gosh, we've never seen this many people, people who are homeless.
Yeah.
And what do you think the biggest misconception about homelessness is, especially since now that you've been in that nonprofit world?
Yeah.
What do you think the biggest misconception about it is?
I think the biggest misconception that when people see someone who's on the streets, they don't understand why they're there. They just assume that there's something wrong with them. They're having some sort of mental health crisis. They're on drugs, and it's not like that.
It's not always like that,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it is for some people, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, for the majority of the people out there, it is, like I said, it's because they've gone through a big, loss in their life and they can't cope, or they do turn to drugs or alcohol.
Or some a lot of them are veterans, which I think a lot of people didn't realize that it's, it's if you're unable, or I mean, you probably know when you have something catastrophic happen to you, like your daughter.
Yeah.
And if she had no one,
exactly,
things happen.
Well, and that's what I think about all the time, because, not everyone would be able to, I was in Houston at the time, and not everyone would be able to just quit your job and go and fix it, So, I mean, I think about that all the time. If she didn't have the support of our family, and like Alan says, what would have happened to her? She had no way to communicate, no way to, walk or talk or eat or anything. So it's just how would that, she would have been ended up on the street,
right?
And there's just so many different reasons, I think, that people don't realize the cause of homelessness, and getting those problems solved is not, the end all answer. It's just, I think housing is a good start. I think that if people have a place to go, then they can, whether it's, substance abuse, whether it's sex trafficking, and they have a safe place to go to start rebuilding their lives. I think that's the first start, but I think we just need more services and more people in the area. But I do think that the biggest misconception is people just think that, they're just lazy and they don't want to do anything. And, people are homeless because they don't want to work. And it's just gosh,
not
not
necessarily that.
necessarily the issue. People want
Mhm.
to get help. Most people want to get help. Most
There's
people
just not
want
a
to
lot
get
of places
reunited
to
with their
turn
family.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, and that's why I think Community First is so empowering, is because they do give them the
Yeah.
potential to get back in the workforce and
Yeah.
earn an income. But I mean, you make a good point. I mean, it starts with having a roof over your head,
Right.
because then you have that security and then you start to feel better
Right.
versus when you're just, out on the streets. I mean, I can't imagine that. The
Well,
stability of not having a place to lay your head.
Well, and if you do have a tent or somewhere to lay your head,
Mhm.
there's always the fear that someone's going to come and remove it, because of the
Yeah.
new camping bans.
Mhm.
These camps are being cleared,
Right.
which some people are getting their homes taken away from them, but that is
Right.
their tent. And
But that's also
so it's a
where you guys
stress.
kind of come into, is great. This is happening.
Right.
So how do we
Yeah.
take these people and put them in a place
Right.
where they can,
Right.
and that's why it's so important. Like the mission, to me, I think I always say, like, whatever people think or believe,
Right.
whether it's politics or policies or whatever,
Yep.
they all are connected.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, okay, we're doing the camping ban's happening.
Right.
Okay, well, people, if you're you're passionate about it, let's give and help to the nonprofits
Yeah.
like HomeAid,
Yeah.
and let's find a place for these people
Yeah.
to start over and
Exactly.
to rebuild their lives.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that is the most important thing.
Exactly.
So I think if we all just kind of came together a little bit more, we would see how we're all so interconnected.
Exactly.
Like, this is where you guys come in.
Right.
And this is where people can really put their energy and time and
Right.
money and effort, is to helping nonprofits like HomeAid.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Brandon Sparks with Nautilus Lending, based right here in Central Texas. We're a full-service mortgage operation and brokerage, serving Greater Texas as well as Florida and Tennessee. One of the greatest things about our shop is our ability to facilitate creative financing. What that means is that anything legally possible, we can get it funded. You want to find out more? Reach out to us, www.nautiluslending.com. That's www.nautiluslending.com.
And that's what, like I said, makes us great to work with, because it's like, not only you come to us and we know all the people that we can help. It's not like when you come to HomeAid, you're helping, just one organization, because when you come to HomeAid, you're helping so many organizations. As that we work with over 30 service providers in the area, and with Alan and his team up there, there's also Chris Baker down at Esperanza with the Other Ones Foundation. They have created a huge community down there, and they just started a workforce development program. So it's just like, when you work with us and we help them, we can connect you with the right people. And that just, that's what makes our mission so much different than everybody else's. While we're not actually doing the work that, Alan and Chris and, Tony and them are doing, everyone in the area that we work with, we are helping them fill their gaps, which is really important to them, because they need to keep that money to help keeping services going for their staff and
For their staff,
people, and everything that they do. So that's kind of what I love about our mission, is that we have a program that you can just fit right into, whether you're a builder or you're a company. Like, if you guys ever wanted a community care day, like, let us know.
Yeah.
We'll hook you up with someone. We'll bring your whole team out. We'll just get everything done. We'll organize it. We'll make sure you're at the right spot that's going to fit your needs, and go from there. So it's an easy program for you to fit in with HomeAid, because you can just plug in and go.
Yeah.
And help people immediately, and people are just so grateful.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think, what do you think with HomeAid? What has been the most significant change that you've seen through your nonprofit organization?
Oh gosh. Since we've taken over, I mean, this most significant change is the amount of people that know about us now and that are wanting to help. Our mission, Kim and I and Katie, the first day we were there, we talked, we were like, okay, what is, like, we came in August, we had a big luncheon to put on, and they were like, okay, 2023 is going to be our year. We're going to, and Kim and I literally spent all of December, we had our lunch in November, all of December, just going through our database that we were left with and finding out all the people that we needed to meet and talk to.
Mm-hmm.
So just building those relationships back up. And I think it's been a great experience. We've met a lot of people with the city. We've met a lot of people, the city council members, it's just like people know about us now. I was at an event recently, and one of the guy from the homeless strategy office, and I hadn't really met him yet. And he was like, oh my gosh, we were just talking about you today. And I'm like, what do you mean you were just talking about us today? And he pulled out his phone and he showed me his email. And the first email that came up was HomeAid Austin. And I'm like, yay, what do we need to talk about?
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's just kind of getting the word out. And the more people we have involved with our mission, the more we can help other people.
Exactly.
So that's kind of our what we've seen biggest change wise. And just, getting back into, like I said, helping the community. We just see so many good things. We're really starting our stride now. We've got 7 building projects going on right now. So just seeing the results of those come through is amazing right now. And just the gratitude and the things that are happening with people. And it's been really rewarding.
I was going to ask you what's been, but
Yeah.
that you kind of just walked right into that one.
Well, I think one of my most rewarding things that I've ever done, and like I said, we work with a lot of different service providers, but we really take Magdalene House into our hearts. And their mission to help women who escape their sex traffickers. And we did an essentials drive for them. And I got to actually go, well, I go a lot now, but it was my first time really going to the house and bringing these things that we collected for them. So there's 6 women that live there. So we had new bedding, we had new socks and new sheets and everything. And these are women who haven't had the ability to pick their own clothes or meals or anything for the years that they've been living. And so when I walked in, they were just like, what is this? And I'm like, this stuff for you. This is like your new, and they had just started the program, so they were new. It was great timing. And they were just like, can I look at it? I'm like, yeah, do whatever you want. It's all yours, And they're like, really? And so like, look at these sheets. Look at oh my gosh, so pretty. Socks, right? Socks.
Ugh. Things that we take for granted every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I just walked outside and I started crying. And Tony's like, oh my gosh. I'm like, so terrible. I was just like, so they were just like, thank you. They were so thankful. And I mean, and Kim and I, like I'm already tearing up now, but
You're
I mean,
giving me a little
I know, right?
Here.
It's just the little things like that are just, it's just so amazing.
The impact.
And people need to know that is the impact of weirdly giving a sock or a nice new bedding or, a fresh coat of paint. Like when people come back in, like imagine when you remodel your house, the feeling you have and you're like, oh, that is what these people need to experience. And that is the gaps that we can fill when HomeAid comes out and does their work. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's, that's kind of the most rewarding. Yeah. Just stuff like that. We just get to see those little impacts that make such a huge difference to people every day.
Yeah, for sure. Well, what would you say? I mean, the biggest thing, I think people would probably want to know a little bit more about is how do y'all ensure that each of your projects that you help, curate, right?
Right.
Has long-term sustainability, right?
Yeah.
And continues to impact those in need. That would be like my biggest question is I know y'all are just the conduit between the builder and the service providers, right? Making sure they have a great synergy, connecting them together. And y'all kind of just are this. I always say you're the
little conduit.
Yeah,
there's no other word for it. We've been trying to figure it out for a couple of years, and that's the best word. Kim actually came up with that word, and it's the only word that works. And what we do is, the great thing about us too is like we kind of vet everybody, so we know the builders. We know that they're going to do good work for the service provider. The service provider, we have like an application they have to fill out. And so we look into them, we look into their financials, we look into all the stuff that happens with them. And then we're like, okay, we have a project development committee and they say, okay, this is a great fit for HomeAid. This is a good company. And when we do a project, it's like a project for life. If we are building a house, like for Magdalene House, we're remodeling right now, a new house for them. So they'll be able to double their capacity.
That's awesome.
The builder captain, who is Lancy Homes. And so they actually decided on their own, which is another great thing, to come in at Christmas and buy gift baskets for all the women who live there. So they all got to have presents on Christmas Day and open their presents. So it's not just, we know Magdalene House is going to be around for a long time. We know Lancy is a quality builder. Just bringing all those people together, the builders know that they'll be able to stay with that project and keep supporting them as they go on, even in 2 years. Like, oh, maybe we
Right.
need some paint, or the roof is
So how much
leaking.
square footage are they adding on? How much are y'all adding on
It's a
to?
whole new house, so it's about 1,600 square feet.
Okay. And that'll take how many
6
women?
women.
6 women.
Mhm,
So
yeah.
right now they only have the capacity to hold 6 women.
Right, and they have
So is
another
there
house.
is
So
there a wait list?
there's Tony will tell you it breaks her heart every day. We were really trying to get them in there before Christmas, but we couldn't do it. She has 250 people on a
Oh,
wait list.
oh my
Tony's
gosh.
program is one of the only ones in Austin that there's another program called Red Oak Hope that we work with as well. They're just coming into the Austin market, so they're going to be able to help Tony. But there's also other places. There's foundation communities. They do a lot of work just housing people in general. But
Yeah.
Tony's program is specific. It's a 2-year program that they can come in for free and live there and get that their
help they
self
need.
back together, connect with their families, and kind of do all that kind of stuff. So we are doubling the capacity by remodeling this house. I'm taking it down to the studs. It was built in 1950. Still had the pink
Wow.
bathroom, which I wanted to keep, but Tony said no, so it's gone. But so we have Lancy Homes coming in to do that. That project probably would have cost Tony and Magdalene House probably about $150,000, and right now it's costing them about $50,000.
That's awesome.
So, they can keep that $100,000. Tony's able to hire another person to work in that house, hire more staff to help her,
Yeah, 'cause she's
So,
gonna
I
need
mean,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's going to need another person to work with those women. And so she was able to hire more people, and she was able to do more things. So just by us asking, hey, Mr. Plumber, can you donate some time? Perfect. Yeah, we'll come
Well,
in and do that. And
and
that's that's what our builder captain does.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think again, you're just showing the value of HomeAid is Tony is so focused on the
She is,
girls
and
and
she
the
needs
women
to be.
there. She doesn't have the capacity to go out and be like, "Hey, Jim, can
Yeah.
you do the plumbing here
Sure,
for
yeah,
this?"
exactly.
Or same thing with the builder, right?
Exactly.
So that's why I think y'all are so effective because she can keep doing what she's doing,
That's
pouring into the
whole
women,
point, right?
running the organization while
Like,
y'all help her
yeah,
expand it.
we don't want them to think about anything that has to do with this new
Mhm.
project or their new kitchen or their new, ceiling or roof repair. We want them to keep going. Tell us, we'll figure it out, and we'll be
Mhm.
like over the weekend. She's like, "Hey, I need a plumber for my other house." I'm like, "Okay, hold on, let me find."
Let me find this.
So,
That's
but
awesome.
it is. It's like, and the builders know when they come into a project, they're not going to just be building for an organization that's going to be gone next year. They're not going to get their $100,000 donations from their people and have it a year later that organization go under.
Right.
That's kind of what the great thing about what we do too is we make sure these people are both vetted on both sides. We don't
Right.
bring in people who don't know what they're doing. We don't bring in inexperienced people. We don't it's just everybody's getting quality, and that's kind of important to keep their mission going. And like I said, it's a partner for life because they'll be with these people forever, and they'll
Yeah.
create their own relationships, which is great because it's like the ripple effect, and that's what
Yeah.
we need.
You need that for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
So y'all have that remodel going on at Magdalene House. You've
Yes.
got the project coming at
Community first. Yep, 6 homes.
What else y'all kind of have in the pipeline?
So we are building for Hope House, which is a facility in Liberty Hill.
Mhm.
Hope House is an organization that helps people who are kids, especially kids who are severely developmentally disabled. So they can live at Hope House and they can stay there for the rest of their lives if they need to. They go to school. They have
They
a
get the
swimming
services
pool.
that they need.
Yeah, and so we are building 2 duplexes for them out there that's going to hold 16 kids. And what they're going to, they stay there for a long time. So they're going to be moving from the current program into this house as they get a little older. So then they can shuffle more people back in there. So we're working on that project right now. That project probably would have cost them close to $800,000 or $900,000. And so far we're building it for about $250,000.
That's amazing.
We had a whole contractor, Heath with Liberty Civil, and he donated all the foundation work. He cleared all the property. He poured all the slabs. He got the plumbers in, did all the rough-in work for free.
Wow.
And it's
And
crazy.
that's a huge cost.
It's a
Concrete's
huge cost.
huge.
Yeah, huge cost.
That's why people say, "Oh, don't build out. That's more expensive. Build up."
Build up. Yeah. Yeah. So we start from that price. We have the Hope House going on right now. We also have Austin Angels in Buda.
Mhm.
They're an agency, another national agency.
Yeah.
That they walk beside families who are in the foster care system who either have adopted kids.
Yeah.
They have great programs down there. They help them with rent assistance or food or love boxes or Christmas or, anything that they do. And they also have mentorship programs. And Susan's mission down there is to basically help every kid in the
Mm-hmm.
United States that is experiencing foster care. And she's on a mission to do that, but we're building them a 900,000 square foot foster care community center. It's going to serve as their corporate offices.
Oh my gosh,
It's going to
that's
have
amazing.
a beautiful love box room where they can create their love boxes. People come in and help. They've got upstairs are going to be the offices, and they're going to train their caseworkers from the United States here. So not only are we impacting with that project the Austin area, we're impacting people across the United States. So
Yeah.
it's funny to think about how 3 little people in Austin can help, spread the word
Yeah.
across the United States. And, it's an amazing project. So we have that going on. Safe Alliance, we're helping them with a kitchen
Mhm.
remodel.
Oh, that's great.
So we have a kitchen in one of their houses that desperately needs help. So we've got a builder captain Domain Construction, who's coming in to help us with that. We're working with the Greater San Marcos Youth Council. We're going to be doing bathroom remodels for them. They have kids that live there that are, in the situation where CPS has taken them out of their homes, and they can stay there and work with their families to, get that relationship built back up.
Mhm.
And, they need some new bathrooms down there. Some of their showers don't work. And so we're going to be redoing those soon. So yeah, we have the Peace Lutheran Family Housing Project,
Mhm.
which is another topic of conversation, I
Yeah.
guess. Churches are the most underutilized properties
Yeah.
right now. So taking advantage of what Peace Lutheran has done is they said, we've got this huge property we want. They have a calling to help people. So what they've done is they've had an old schoolhouse. They're going to demo it. They provided the land and the capital. They're funding everything 100%. So Monty Osborne with his Foundation for the Homeless group is going to come in and run it, but it's going to house 4 families who are experiencing homelessness that need a temporary shelter. Like, hey, we're about to get evicted. Monty helps a lot of those people every day to try to find housing in the area to get them to a safe space. And so we're going to be able to put 4 to 6 families in this semi kind of duplexy thing that we're building for them up
Right.
there, which is going to be, $1 million project that we're going to get done for. We haven't got to the bidding stage yet, but we're going to at least get it down to half of that, because we just have so many people who want to donate, whether it's roofers or sheetrockers or plumbers.
amazing.
Yeah. And it is the builder captains, but it's also the people doing the work. So
Well, yeah, you've got a lot of the
Mhm.
contract laborers as well.
So it's from the big giant 9,500
Yeah.
square foot building down to a little kitchen remodel. So whatever we can do to help, we
Yeah.
can find, that space
Well,
for someone.
so if people want to help get involved, right? Like, I know if you're in real estate, we can do care days,
Sure.
right? Or
Yeah.
construction or builders, they can come to y'all's event
Right.
at Community First. So I know that how people in our industry, right, the real estate,
Right.
construction, home
Yeah.
industry can get involved. But how can other people, if they're not in those industries, get involved with you guys? I mean, it seems like someone could even come to y'all and you could say, hey, look, the Magdalene House really needs help here.
Yeah.
Or, hey, Community First really needs help
Right.
here. Is that
Exactly.
kind of what you do? You help kind of
Everybody, whoever,
Mhm.
yeah, we do, like I said, what we call care days is we put the word out. We need 20 people to come to Magdalene House. We need 15 people to come to Community First. We need 20 people to come to Project Helping Hand and paint, their building.
Mhm.
We need, so we Kim actually she's our community outreach director, and she is amazing. She's gotten all these programs together. She's got, like, if you want to pay for lunch, if you want to have lunch out there, she'll get you lunch. If you want to, supplies, we'll get them donated, whatever we need to do. So she's built a program where you can just call her and say, hey, I've got one person. I want to come help. We have a company that we help, a service provider called Hope Totes, and she helps kids who have been in the CPS system, taken away from their homes. She creates little tote bags with brand new clothes and like little blankies, and she brings them to like partnerships for
So
children, so the
great.
foster moms can come grab them and bring them to their kids. She doesn't want to see them walk out of their house with a trash bag, so she makes these little totes. And we go do care days up there 3 or 4 times a year.
Mhm.
So if you're one person, if you want to bring some kids, bring your kids to, come out there and fill these totes or draw on the totes or do something.
Yeah.
So we have ways for individuals to fit in along with companies through the programs that Kim has built. We built through our community outreach program. So We probably do 30 care days a year.
Mm-hmm.
So at least two or three a month. So whether
That's
it's a big
awesome.
one, a small one, we can feed people. We go to Caritas and we go and step into their kitchen and help feed people in the mornings. So, we prepare the food and then we actually help serve and clean up and do everything. So
Right.
whatever the amount, if it's a company or if it's an individual, you can just call us and we'll plug you in somewhere and,
Right.
you can help out.
Well, that's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
man, it seems like you guys have so much going on for
We do.
2025 too. It
Yep.
feels like 2025 is going to be y'all's year.
Yeah.
I can feel it.
It is.
And hopefully that when people listen to this, they're really going to see what the mission is.
Yeah.
And hopefully get involved, whether that is, monetary
Sure.
or with your physical body going
Right.
and volunteering, because there's so many organizations that I didn't even know existed
I
that,
know.
man, I want to just go and
And
help
help.
however
I
I
know.
can now.
I know. And it's just one day out of your life,
Yeah.
and a lot of companies will give like a matching day, like, hey,
Mhm.
we'll we're finding out we're allowing our employees to take 16 hours we're going to give you 16 hours to go do some charitable work if you want. So those are the type of people, if they want something to do, call us. We'll plug you in,
Yeah.
and there's so many things. There's just so many ways we need help. We had a woman who was helping us on one of our committees, and she would go around to the garage sales in her neighborhood and take everything that was left over, and then we'd bring it to other places. So it's just like
so great.
everyone has great ideas, and
Yes.
it's just everyone.
And you would think like someone else's junk is someone else's prize,
It
right?
is.
And you're just like, I mean, it's crazy when you think of it that way.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
I think what you guys are doing is so needed and so necessary. So
Yeah.
I really hope that people hear this and people learn more about HomeAid, and
Yep.
hopefully we can get more builder captains there,
Yeah,
right? So
exactly.
if you are a builder or in the construction business or even a service provider,
Right.
well, Lynne, you are such a joy to talk to.
Oh,
Thank you.
you.
Y'all, your passion you're definitely in the right industry. You're
Yeah.
definitely where you're meant to be, because you really have taken this from I would say your past career
Yeah.
path has really probably helped you,
Yes.
but you also have the passion for it. And
Yeah.
you seem like one of the right people to be in this. And I really hope HomeAid this year I hope it
Yeah.
really takes off.
I think 2025 is going to be an amazing year. Finally got our feet under us. We've got a lot of people behind us. So if
Mhm.
anybody wants to get involved, they can just come to our website. It's homeaidaustin.org and check it out and see what they can do. We have a calendar page we're putting up, and
Mhm.
all the events for 2025 will be in there soon. So yeah, it's going to be an amazing time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Lynne, thank you so
Oh,
much
no,
for
thank you
joining
so
us today.
much. I'm
And
so
I appreciate
happy.
it. Yes.
Yeah, it's great.
And that's all we got. Thanks for listening, everyone.